G'day, this is the Adelaide Old Fart, and I'm going to introduce yourself to my motorbike. The bike that's been with me for all my videos. She's a 2018 Royal Enfield Himalayan, Carburettor version. And she's called Gimli's Axe. Now, I'm not someone who normally names motorbikes or motor vehicles. I've only ever done it once before, and that was an MGB that I had for 13 years and absolutely loved. And although I've only had this bike for 12 months now, I reckon it's going to become a family favourite as well, simply because it's got a name. So why did I call it Gimli's Axe? I have no idea. I can tell you when it happened. You were chatting away on a motorbike forum at one point, and suddenly I realised she had a name. And I knew what it was. Gimli's Axe. Now, the sharp-eyed amongst you would have noticed that it's not standard. In fact, it's still a work in progress. So let's walk you through some of the changes. To start with is the short screen. This is from Eagle Screens in WA. 100mm screen, very short. I was getting a lot of turbulence, a lot of buffeting off the standard screen. And I found that it was very quiet without a screen. So I asked them to make this for me. Moving back from the screen, bark busters with the storm hand shields. They actually work quite well. I haven't tested the bark busters yet. They're there for when I fall off. The hand shields though, leaves whacking against you. If I ride in heavy rain, I don't get wet gloves. So they're obviously protecting me. Further down, you'll see the exhaust system. It's a Delcovic system. It's the full length system, so it's got the headers and the exhaust pipe. A much louder, deeper sound. It's more of a bass than a baritone. I really like it. It's a little on the noisy side, but that's turned the engine into an integral part of my videos. You may or may not have noticed that. Here I have a heel guard over the brake master. Now why do you have a heel guard, you might ask? Well, the usual answer is if I fall off and kick the master cylinder, I'll break it. Well, that's one reason. The other one is I painted this to match the rest of the bike. And if you look down here, you can see where I'm chipping off the paint. It's hitting it with my heel and chipping it off. And that's horribly close to where the master is. So I think they're a really good idea just to protect the master all around. Then of course we have the Himalayan panniers, lockable panniers. Mine are on the bike all the time and I carry far too much stuff in them. They've proven to be 100% waterproof. Here we go. Let's see, we've got 2 bottles of water, thermos, book of maps. Down the bottom there's spare gloves, there's me lock, there's me hat. Far too much stuff. A couple of shopping bags because I do shopping with the bike as well. And on the right hand pannier I've got all my tools for changing tyres. I'll make sure I carry them because that's one way you guarantee you'll never need them. How's that for cynicism? Down here I have a Lubman chain oiler. That's the reservoir which contains just ordinary gear oil that you use in the final drive on a shaft drive. And there's the hose which runs up round here all the way down there. And there's a little feed which has 2 prongs that touch either side of your rear sprocket. And they all runs down and they feed at either side of the rear sprocket, and then it drips onto your chain. To oil the chain, I just press and hold that. I can watch the oil run down the tube. You probably can't see it. I'm actually looking right at it. But once I've decided I've let enough oil down, I release the button and the oil stops running. Isn't that clever? At the moment I'm only using standard foot pegs. When the budget allows, I reckon I'll fit pivot pegs which are larger and offer more stability. At the front of the bike here, I have a pair of 20mm risers. Well, actually what I've done is I've bought the top clamp for the handlebars. I bought a spare one and I've just turned it upside down underneath the handlebars. So that's lifted the handlebars up 20mm. Just possibly a little low, maybe not. I had 25mm in there before. But that's, the ones I had before were generic ones and they didn't fit and they looked ugly and they gave me 25mm lift, but it wasn't a good look. So this is a much neater look, it's just not as high. The side stand. The side stand got a much larger foot on it, and I've shortened the side stand by 10mm. That allows the bike to actually lean over, which it didn't on the previous, with the standard stand. And I think that's most of the changes I've made. I've got this horrible feeling I've forgotten a few. But that's Gimli's axe. It's almost certainly not her final form. I'm quite sure I'll come up with some other things to do. Some changes that I'm planning. Changes which you can't see. I've got a BMC air filter. I've got an Iridian plug. I've increased the size of the pilot jet to suit the exhaust system. I'm going to get rid of that evap system, which is feeds fresh air back into the exhaust pipe, and that's the cause of all the popping and banging you hear. It will get rid of that. And that's horribly close to as far as I'm going to go for a while. It's got Mitas E07 tyres because the stock Pirellis wore out in about 6,000 kilometres. Thank you. I had to do the head stem bearings at about 6,000 as well. And that head stem bearings are really the only problem I've had with it. They're pretty much a standard one of these early bikes. They've fixed that in the later ones. That's something you've asked me to show you. My knee pads. The Royal Enfield 500 knee pads are quite a bit larger and fit better. I didn't realise when I bought these. These are an aftermarket one and they're a bit small. But I found I was wearing the paint off with my jeans in and around that area. So that's why I put them on and why I put them on there. And that's it. Here's my beloved Gimli's axe. Quite possibly the last bike I'll ever own. And I'll be riding her in 20 years. That's the plan. Thank you.